can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
Well, how about start with good morning? Good morning. So, as you know, the Centers for Spiritual Living this year is celebrating 100 years of the science of mind. And so the messages that are being presented on Sunday in our centers is taking a principle, a teaching of the science of mind, and fleshing it out. So you could say back to basics, back to principle, back to the beginning, back to the creative process. And the topic for this week, it comes from a quote from the Science of Mind textbook where Dr. Holmes talked about what happens in our life or the life of a group when in consciousness, the blind are leading the blind. Now, in today, as we become more aware and maybe sensitive, caring, sensitive to the words that we use, we know that that some people are blind. And that blindness, the fact that they have lost their sight, is not a choice. However, losing our eyesight, literally, does not have to mean that we lose our vision. So for all of us, whether we literally have our eyesight or not, we do really see with a greater vision, but I think, just speaking for myself, that on occasion I lose my vision. I become unaware. I might, at times, fall into the darkness and lose a vision. So the title of my message today is, where are you going? Where are you going? To live from a greater vision that is grounded in science of mind and spirit, that is what I want to talk about today. So, beginning, I would like to take a moment to share some things with you about where are you going from vision or from unawareness, how that relates to the search for your new minister and for this document that is a sacred covenant, easy prayer. Now, a covenant, this is snapping around a lot back at me. Pull it down. A covenant is simply an agreement. And, you know, a lot of times out of a state of unawareness, and because that we think that we're human beings full of limitations, and we forget our divine inheritance and where we come from. A lot of times we are living from agreements that really, really don't serve us. agreements that are based in a belief in limitation, that there's not enough, or I'm not enough, or that I'm powerless to change my circumstances. All kinds of false beliefs, or the old term in metaphysics, error thinking. And Eric Butterworth, who is a fabulous teacher in Unity, New Thought, said that really our life's journey on the human experience is to unlearn our error beliefs. Now, I believe that that is why we're here. And that along the way, as I wake up and become more aware and know, and when I say know, I mean I have embodied, I know without a doubt that I am of the divine. That I am just like a drop or a bucket in the ocean or a wave. And that in actuality, the ocean, the truth of who I am, is calling me all the time to remember. So, in the search for a new minister, there were about 12 people that gathered on Friday night and Saturday a few weeks ago, and a number of people that came before the Friday night for the Thursday healing process. And out of that whole process, this covenant of intentions for your new minister has been created. Now, what you have here is the personalized I am version. So, in actuality, what was created is that the purpose of this group of people that came together to gain clarity, to come into consensus, and to be fully committed behind what's the spiritual attribute or the quality of spirit that we want to embody and focus on. And they came up with wholeness. Nothing missing, nothing broken. The quote, as you read from Ernest Holmes, "Wholeness fills my entire being with the realization of love and perfection." Now, when we are aware and operating from our sense of wholeness and what the energy, the life force that is moving through us is unconditional love and perfection, we know that we draw into our lives like experiences. And it doesn't mean that if I'm embodying love and that is the energy that's oozing out from me, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to see things that are unloving. I will see them, but they won't trigger me into that old error thinking that, oh, look at this, we're powerless to change this situation. So these affirmations sound like this in the way that they were created for your new minister. The intention for my new minister is to inspire all to live as love in the expression of wholeness. Now, in terms of the law of attraction, some of you may have heard me say before, you are your new minister. And so what you really, really believe about yourself in terms of that, and who you are as a spiritual being, that's what's going, the collective consciousness of this congregation, that is what's going to draw your minister to you. So I want to embody this as myself, so that is what I attract. Now, I'm just saying I for living my life, but really this is about you. I'm here as kind of a birther in a way. And I know that in the past you guys have, we've used that metaphor a lot, the midwife. To be inspired, to inspire us to live as love in the expression of wholeness, to awaken us to the wisdom within ourselves through teaching, through speaking, through classes, to apply spiritual principles as the power of love, through the power of love for healing. The practitioner, the licensed professional practitioner, and each one of you, as you embody these principles, that there is only one life. That life is universal. That life is invisible. That life is God, and that life is my life, just as the drop in the ocean. There is only one life. That life is God's life. So how do you describe God? Because, see, this determines where you are going. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life. Then I want to be clear, what do I believe about God? What is God to me? Spirit, divine intelligence, infinite mind, unconditional love, absolute freedom, prosperity, abundance, joy, the very essence of light that is always turned on within me according to my recognition of it. There's only one life. That life is Spirit's life. I am Spirit in human form, incarnated here to be the truth of who I am. And as I become the truth of who I really am, as Vance was saying, then I empower others, and so do you. So these intentions are put in this form for you to use as this prayer. You could weave this into your daily spiritual practice and read this out loud to you and think about what does this inspire me to awaken within me? What is the untapped wisdom within me that is not being used right now? What actually are the spiritual principles that I'm applying to my life to open the nature of love and wholeness as me? Now, if you have your sheet and you look down at the ones that say community affirmation, what's interesting about this, for those of you that were here on the Thursday night, you filled out a form where you chose from the list or where you could write in. You chose 2 activities that you wanted to see your spiritual center focus on. And so I took them and I wrote them out and I put the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by them. And the 2 that were neck and neck were the activities of mystical and religious studies. That got the most votes. And the other one was social activism activities. That's a pretty broad, so that to be determined when you have your new minister. So what this is, it's important to know this. It's important for the minister that may apply for the position to know that this Center for Spiritual Living Peninsula is hungry for mystical and religious studies. That's a powerful thing. Because one of the spiritual practices that we teach is study. And as we study and then begin to practice what we study, the truth of who we are, that really, it's already all there. You know, we're not putting anything in, right? We're not putting anything within to us. We're awakening what's already there. Now, for me as a child, or a young person, as I got older, and the reason I went to church when I was a tiny little girl, I went because we sang, Jesus loves you. Jesus loves me. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Now, when you hear truth, something that really resonates with you, you just know it, right? You just know it. Because something like goosebumps or some kind of like, now I know where I'm going. Well, as a 5-year-old, that was my experience. It was right. It was true. Jesus loves me, this I know. For the Bible tells me so. Well, okay, it was written, but I knew it. This I know, for the Bible tells me so. Ones who can be low, they are weak, but he is strong. Okay, now, that part. But I knew, as I got older, one of the things that I learned, intellectually learned, it awakened what I already knew. If I hear something and I know that it's truth, then it's already within me. So I have felt weak. Is there anybody here that hasn't felt weak? Desperate, alone, sad, overwhelmed, drowning in a belief that there is no answer? Let me tell you, last week, there was a day that I drowned in the news of the fire. I live in Chico. I came over a couple of days later. And what I saw while I was there was some of the devastation. We haven't been able to get into paradise. People around. But no matter where I saw people experiencing devastation, so-called victims, I saw people helping. I saw the community going out and doing whatever needed to be done, whether it was food, whether it was whether it was clothes, whether it was hugs. The people have a vision. Within a couple of days after the fire, officials from the town of Paradise were already talking, coming out into community meetings and saying, we will rebuild. I saw vision. I saw purpose. I saw caring. Not scarcity. But for some reason, in watching the news, I started to drown. I started to lose my awareness. I wondered, where are we going? How are these 52,000 people, where are they in Chico? Well, my sister tells me just in the days that I've been gone, she says, you wouldn't believe the traffic. They're there. They're housed. My point is, helpers have a vision. They know where they're going. They know the resources are there. And they're doing what they're doing because they want to give of themselves. In the midst of the devastation, there's wholeness. Some people lost their lives. And that is inspiring their families and their loved ones to make their life better, to have a vision, and to step into that. The town doesn't have to have all the answers. This spiritual community doesn't have to have all the answers, but you do have to have a vision and have an idea of where you're going, and know that each one of you and each person that is a part of this community has a part to play. A piece, you have something to give. And the beauty of that is that along the way, in that giving, that you find that you have more power, more wholeness, more to give, more love, more peace, more prosperity, more abundance than you thought that you had. It's win-win. Have you ever been to the zoo or to San Diego and seen the penguins? How they come up out of the water, and here's this group of penguins, and what they really want to jump back, right? They want to jump back in that water. And some of the penguins are contemplating. I'm not sure. I wonder what the water is like. I'm kind of tired today, not sure I have the energy to get there. And slowly but surely, they come to the edge of the water and they go, oh, let me just put a little toe in. While some penguins are like, psh, just all full of themselves. Just all energetics, like, let me get into that water. I don't know what it's going to be like, but I know when I get in there, I'll figure it out. Because they know how to swim. They know how to do what they know how to do. And so if there's anything that you take with you today, what I want you to know is that whatever you are facing in your own individual personal life, or the lives of your loved ones, sometimes the things that we're facing are how to support and be with whatever our loved ones are experiencing. What I want you to know is that as you jump in to that with your heart wide open, trusting the truth of who you are, that everything will be revealed that needs to be revealed. There isn't any part of our life that this doesn't work. Whether we're dealing with our health and our well-being, this is how it works. There's that within us that knows what needs to be done. Well, I know. I know what stops. Oh, but what about this? It's going to be so hard. I'm going to have to do this. I'm having all kinds of specific examples come to my mind, but I'm not going to share them with you. You know what yours are. If you don't, write it down. That is the best practice to write down all of the things that I think are going to get in the way. Why it's hard. Why I don't want to change. Why I think that I can't put my health and wholeness first. I write it down and I go, really? I don't know, something shifts. Maybe it is about the area of your Relationships. Do you have the kind of relationships, loving, respectful, where you listen to each other? Do you have the kind of relationships that you innately want in your life? If not, honor the ones that you have and give more. Ernest Holmes, in the Science of Mind textbook, says it so clearly. If you want friends, be a friend. If you want more love in your life, give more love. If you want more financial income, if you want more money in your life, give something. We go, oh no, I'm going to wait around until I have more money, then I'll decide to give it. Okay, wait around. Because you'll just keep waiting and waiting and waiting. We're here to give. What about your creative expression? Are you satisfied with that? If you are, fantastic. But what I know about being satisfied is that sometimes I'm satisfied, and then I come to a point where I'm not satisfied anymore. Divine discontent. Get out there. Run into the water. Ask your center, your spiritual community, what it needs. Ask your loved ones. Where are you going? Where is the center going? This is where the center is going. This is the minister, according to your belief in it, that you will attract. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Take it home and read it. Make it part of your spiritual practice. Own it. I am my new minister. I'm a minister in my own right. I'm a giver. I'm a lover. I'm excited about life. I shifted when I heard your song immediately. I visualized blue skies in paradise and Chico, because you know what? I know whatever is happening, this too will pass. This too will pass. Dr. Holmes says, time heals all wounds, adjusts conditions, explains facts, and time alone satisfies the expanding soul, reconciling the visible with the invisible. We are born of eternal day, and the spiritual sun shall never set upon the glory of the soul. That's you. For it is the coming forth of God into self-expression as you and I. We must give ourselves time to work out our problems, involve ourselves in our spiritual practice. If we do not work them out here, we shall thereafter. There will be time enough in eternity to prove everything. A manifestation in the infinite, of that infinite which Emerson tells us lies stretched in smiling repose. The ocean, calling you home, courting you, saying, you know, oh little drop, you and I are really one. You think you're separate. You think you have to figure it all out. You think it's hard. You think you're not up to it. Come home. Jump in the water. Remember who you are.